Shalom Aleichem and welcome to Online Smicha. Today we'll discuss our halacha in this week's Parsha, Parshas Teizei, Parshas Teizei. Shlishi begins, Kisivna bayis chadash, v'asisa ma'ike legagecha. One builds a new home, he should build a ma'ike, a fence, to his roof. V'leisasim damim beveisecha. By doing that, there won't be any innocent blood spilled in his home. Ki yipoil hanoifel mimenu. When the person falling will, God forbid, fall from the roof. So to prevent that, you have a mitzvah of asiyas maika. The next pasuk talks about kalayim in a field, which applies when you have a kedem, when you have a vineyard. There's a couple of details in the lashon pasuk. The pasuk says, "Ki yipoil hanoifel," when the person falling will fall. It's not a typical expression. Typically you would write, when a person accidentally falls, not when the person who is falling will fall. So Rashi obviously is bothered by this question, and Rashi says this is part of the cheshbon, perhaps, of the owner of the home, that he might think, listen, after all, if it's meant to happen that this person should get hurt, it's not my problem. And the noifel is ra'ui zeh lipoil. He obviously deserves to fall, because if Hashem makes it happen, it's going to happen. So what do I have to go out of my way and stop things and make a ma'ikah? Says Rashi, afal pikeng, nevertheless, lo yisigalgel misasei al yotcha. You should not be the one to take matters in your own hands and say, hey, after all, that person deserved it. The misa, the death, the punishment, the hurt that's happening to this person should not happen through you. Shemegalgalin schus al yedei zakai v'choiva al yedei chayav, because it's usually a shidduch. Good things happen through good people, and Rahman al-Islam, bad things happen with bad people. And therefore, if it's going to happen in your house, and you did not stop it, it's obviously a siman of what you are. So you should not be the one to even allow a noifel, somebody who's meant to fall. You have to do yours to protect that. The Klei Yakar says the connection between this pasuk and the next pasuk of the mitzvah of kalayim by a keren, says the Klei Yakar like this: Im kiyamta mitzvah smaika, if a person fulfills this mitzvah and puts a fence protecting people from damage and from falling, tizke lekerem, you will merit to have a nice vineyard. Ma inyan maika ela kerem. What's the connection of the concept of the mitzvah of maika to the mitzvah of kerem? Says the Klei Yakar, if you are somebody who's careful enough that if it's a hazardous place, you protect it, and you put a maika, you could have a kerem. Why could you have a vineyard? Because you will also protect. You'll be careful and how to drink and when to drink and not do kalayim, because you're a careful person. Somebody who does not care, somebody who is careless and doesn't care if people fall, people get hurt, don't give him any wine. Don't give him any kerem, a vineyard, because he's going to have problems with kalayim, he's going to have problems with wine, etc., etc. And that is the connection between the two. The Ramban, when he discusses this mitzvah, the Ramban says something very point blank. He says, mitzvahs maika, it's mechudeshes. It seems to be a new mitzvah mentioned here. Or perhaps there's another angle. It's not a new mitzvah. It's an extension to what we already know, the isser of leisamoid al dam re'acha. You're not allowed to watch or stand by as somebody's getting hurt. And if you have ways to save people from harm, it's your responsibility. So it's a general mitzvah. And we find in Shulchan Aruch, when the Shulchan Aruch speaks about the concept of showing care, from staying away from damaging people or damaging things. So it's all under one umbrella. For example, in Kitzur Shulchan Aruch Siman Kuf Tzadik, he talks about the mitzvah of Micah, And he says the mica has to be a specific height, because only then you are guaranteed that nobody will fall by mistake. And the mica has to be a strong one, not something that falls down easily. Va'amnam loy hagag bilvad chayev a mica. This is not only a mitzvah specifically about a roof, that a roof a person could hurt himself. Ela kol davar sheyesh by sakana, anything that could be a hazard, could be a sakana, sheyikashel by adam v'yamus, that a person might hurt himself and Rahman al-Litzlan die, chayev b'maika. This mitzvah is an umbrella for any hazardous thing. You have to put a mica, you have to put a tikkun, a correction, and if anything like that you don't have a mica, bitel mitzvah sasei v'avar al mitzvah loisasei. He overpassed the opportunity to fulfill the mitzvah saseh, and it's actually a loisasa of loisasim damim b'veisecha. For example, if you have a pit, if there's an area where a person could fall in, you have to make a fence, and nobody should fall in, to be aware that there's a pit here. Or lastis like kisui, or a person has to make a covering over that pit, shalayipol by adam. And it extends even further from another pasuk, that anything hazardous, so much so, hamigadel kelav ra, somebody who has a scary dog, a dangerous dog, a dog that could hurt people, could scare people, could frighten people, he has to have it in such a way that it will not harm anybody, because he has to fulfill the mitzvah of leisasim damim b'veisecha, and he has to fulfill the mitzvah of raki shama lecha shmor nafshecha ma'od. Be careful in everything you do not to harm anybody. Yashikoyach, please join us again next week.